Welcome to Reef Diary Day 30. I thought for the 30th episode we'd do something a little bit different, so let's actually do some things together in real time. So I don't want to waste your time. So the first thing I want to do is I want to mix up some Benereef so this can start simmering because it takes 5 minutes. I've already taken a solo cup of some tank water. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of this mixture into my cup. And I'm going to stir it up. And that way the bacteria that's dormant in there will come to life because we're going to feed the tank this. Okay, so that's the first spoon. We'll add a second one and then we'll start the timer while we do some other things. So that's 2. Close this up so it stays dry and safe. I've been using Benereef on and off for the last couple of years, and I find it's a really good food for the corals, and it also can be seen to be eaten by the fish. The food itself is very microscopic, so that way, or planktonic, so that way the corals can ingest it as well. And usually the best bet is when you pour it in the tank is turn off the skimmer for a while, so that way everyone has a chance to get a snack. And then after a couple of hours, the water will be crystal clear again because everyone ate it. The nice thing about this stuff is that it doesn't raise your nitrates or your phosphates, and I think that's a huge selling point. All right, so that's mixed up. Set timer 5 minutes. So be it. We'll do it the old-fashioned way. We actually go find the timer and hit the 5 button. Lazy. All right. The second thing I want to deal with, I'm going to take out a couple of these skeletons, and then in the back there, the green slimer that has been doing really well, somebody knocked it over, so we're going to glue it back into place. By the way, I switched the lights to something that's more like my streaming, so that way it looks decent on here and it's not crazy blue. So let us start with, we're going to let this sit over here out of my way so don't kick it over. That'd be terrible. Oh, I want to add the Microbacter 7 as well. So I use 9 milliliters a day. This plunger is actually 10 milliliters, so that's convenient. I can reach in there and remove pretty much what I need from the bottle without having to pour it out. But when this gets too low, I can just pour it into a beaker and then grab 9 from that. So 9 milliliters a day comes out to 1 milliliter per 25 gallons of my reef. Now I need to turn off my protein skimmer. So I just flipped off a button. And I'll go ahead and just put it in this area of high flow. And I'll just kind of trickle it in a little bit at a time. But it's not much solution, so I just want to make sure it gets into the reef. This is going to add some good bacteria to the tank, and it's actually well known to be used to remove some of the brown stuff on the sand, which has been going away. So I feel like it's doing its job, and I'm happy about that. 2 milliliters to go. That's it. All right, so that's done. Close this up before I kick it over and spill it all over the place. I'm big on moving things out of the way. And let's go ahead and glue that slimer while I've got this handy in my hand. I brought 2 tubes over. This is the stuff from Paul Blabs. I'm wearing a Paul Blabs shirt, and I believe this is the first time I've ever worn this shirt. It feels brand new, and I must have got it 2 years ago. And I'm glad that I fit. So I'm not going to actually use the tip of this. I'm just going to squeeze it right under the coral. I do want to grab a paper towel so I can blot off the base of that coral before I try to glue it in place into the tank. So let me hop up here, move this back, and now I need that coral. Since I'm wearing a wristwatch on one arm, I will use my other hand to retrieve the coral. Right here. And I'm not sure what knocked it loose. It's been sitting there perfectly since Dwayne planted it 2 months ago. I'm just going to dry it off. Put some more glue on the bottom. Put that glue on the paper towel so it doesn't damage the tank. And re-glue it back where it was, right there. Spot you can't see. Normally you have to hold it for a minute, but that was actually a very specific shape, and I think it'll be fine. I don't have to do anything. So while my hand is in here, I will go ahead and remove this. No longer a living coral. And this big one here is no longer living. And I think this one's separate from this one. I'm going to try to get this. Yep. It's no longer living, other than a starfish sits on it. Come on, little guy. Let's get back in the water where you belong. Okay, so that's 3 more reminders gone. This coral down here is just melting away, so we're going to go ahead and pluck it out as well, unfortunately. Sad. But I'll get a new piece of this from Ryan, I'm sure, if I ask him really, really nicely. So there's the original frag plug. Let me move this over to where you can see it better. There's the frag plug on the bottom, and that's the coral that grew out over time, lying on the sand of the back of the tank forever. Moved to the front, made a big mistake with my tank, and killed half my corals. And she is no longer with me. And then this thing here is gone too. So one of the reasons I'm removing these now, even if they have some life left, is because of what Dwayne keeps telling me over and over. When this stuff is dying, just get it out of your tank before it spreads onto something else. And normally I don't do that. But since the tank has been so unhappy, I'm going to listen to him this time and assume that he is right. That huge one over there, it's another one that he wants me to remove. I really don't want to, but because there's a big piece of green right there, but all the rest of it is gone. And my timer says that the food is ready. I'm going to break off the piece of green. I'm going to be stubborn and put it back in the reef on top of the rock. And maybe some piece of it will decide not to die, or maybe all of it will just go like the rest of it. So there's other areas that also need to be removed, but I'm not going to do that today. I just want to kind of get out some of the big stuff. And put the light rack back. So now that the food is mixed and it's been 5 minutes, I can add it to the tank. I'm going to hit my stop button on a reef, which is what I do when I feed the reef. And now I can just pour it in. Now I won't have the flow I had to help disperse it, so I'm just going to spread it through the tank. Get down the glue so I don't knock it into the tank. Now one of the benefits of turning off the return pump is it keeps the food in the display instead of going down the drain and into the sump and into the skimmer and into any kind of filtration that can remove it. And since we are feeding corals, why not get the fish a snack? I'm not going to give them the dinner yet, it's not time, but I can put some nori in there for the bigger fish. I'm just assuming this microphone will go wherever I go. And you can hear me. I have no guarantees that it's actually working until I play this back. So I'm going to put in a half a sheet. I fold it over. And fold it twice. Then I'll roll it up and I'll put it in the clip. Spock is going to be so surprised to see this in the water. I've had this feeding clip for years, and the clip itself is starting to feel kind of weak, so I may have to replace this soon. But for now, I think it'll still hold some nori. There you go, Spock. Think she figured it out? What could that be? Is it food? Ah, see, she looked at it with her bad eye. She didn't see it. She'll have to come back at it again. There you go. Okay, so that's it for day 30. Now, I would like to ask you guys, should we keep going? Is this a good place to stop the series, or should we just keep it going indefinitely? I would much rather keep doing a diary about a really healthy, happy tank, but many of you said even this downturn, this situation that's occurred, was educational. So I do love to educate and to show you the reality of what it's like to keep a reef. So if you would like me to keep going, let me know in the comments. Other than that, assuming many of you say keep going, I'll see you tomorrow on the next Reef Diary. And of course, there's a live stream at 2 o'clock Central Time, 2:08 Central Time, and that'll be, I have a topic in mind for you, and then there'll be probably a 1-hour question and answer afterwards if you want to tune in for that. So thanks for watching, and if you're not a subscriber, you should be, and I hope you guys have a great night.